Hey there, quick question for you before we dive in. Have you been exercising? Have you been eating healthy and eating less and still not losing weight, especially around the belly? If this is you, you're not alone. And today I want to share with you why the diets that worked in our 20s and 30s are simply not working for us here in midlife. And if you feel like your metabolism is suddenly non-existent, then this video is for you. Today I am going to share 3 basic steps that I took personally to lose 25 pounds. And this is the same foundational 3 basic steps that I now use to help women and coach women to their weight loss goals. If you've struggled with weight loss after 40, then comment yes below. I want to hear your story. If we've not met yet, my name is Nicole Dalton. I have been a physician assistant for almost 25 years now, turned menopause weight loss coach. I specifically help women 35 and over lose weight for the last time to create the healthiest version of yourself so you can enjoy this next half of your life living and exploring and adventuring like you should. So let's dig in. Are you in perimenopause like me or in menopause and can relate here that this summer I feel like has been the hottest summer on record? I live in central Illinois and it has been really hot, but man, my internal temperature I feel like is just, my furnace is like turned on all the time and I'm just super hot. And then when I'm super hot all day, my body finally regulates its temperature and then I'm like freezing cold. Can you relate to this? All these hormonal changes during the hottest summer. But it's been so hot here in central Illinois and I decided to train for a half Ironman triathlon, which I did complete a few weeks ago now, but holy cow, it was super hard. But it was so awesome and I loved it. I love having a goal that challenges me and makes me kind of scared to know and believe if I can actually do it, okay? Having a goal that feels scary and pushes you out of what you think you can do allows for personal growth and some extra motivation to actually hit that goal. And on a quick side note, you absolutely do not need to train for a crazy half Ironman triathlon to lose weight, okay? I actually don't recommend doing long endurance training or exercising tons more to lose weight. I actually recommend not training and doing these long endurance events. I have a client that trains for long endurance event and she cycles 100 miles on the weekends, okay? I've been working with her for the last couple of years now. She's lost 30 pounds, but she's not wanted to give up her endurance training. And so we've worked together to make some tweaks so she's able to still lose the weight. But this is super rare, and most of my clients aren't doing long endurance events because I usually tell them not to. So don't do what I just did and train for a half Ironman in the middle of the summer when you're in perimenopause, super hot anyway. It's very inflammatory. It stresses our body when we're doing too much exercise, okay? But most of the women that I help are either 1, not exercising at all, or 2, have a solid foundation of maybe some HIIT workouts and CrossFit workouts, or 3, simply are just walking, which is excellent exercise, and out there enjoying nature. Okay, so don't feel like you need to do anything too crazy to actually just lose weight. Okay, here are the 3 steps that I took to lose 25 pounds a few years ago and have kept it off since. And it's the same foundation that I use to help women over 35 lose weight. So just to give you a quick background of how I got into coaching and how I gained this weight and how I lost the weight. Through my whole life, I have always been into exercise and fitness and nutrition. I was a college athlete. And then after my college athlete days, I've been doing triathlon and half marathon races for fun. And through that time, I never struggled with my weight. But then I hit perimenopause a few years ago. Didn't even realize it, right? It's like it happened overnight. And all of a sudden I found that I had gained 25 pounds. I was weighing in more than I was during my pregnancies. Okay. So I knew that I had to do something. So I just simply dug in and kind of did what I did in the past to lose a few pounds, right? So I ate healthy and I just got back into a good fitness routine. And then I got scared because nothing was working. I was doing everything I used to do in my 20s and 30s to lose weight, and nothing was working. So that scared me. And I then took, so I'm going to save you a bunch of time here. So I took a good year at least on, and I still am researching all the things out there to lose weight when you're in perimenopause and menopause, and to try to understand what is happening here. So in my journey of discovering all this new research that is finally out there for us women in perimenopause and menopause, we're getting a huge spotlight right now, which is super exciting. I used what I've learned to lose that 25 pounds. And I was so excited that I could do it after I really thought I was just like stuck gaining weight in perimenopause and thought I couldn't lose it. But once I did, I couldn't believe how good I felt and full of energy. My joint pains and aches were gone. I felt like $1,000,000. And so I started working with women and sharing the same things that I did, and they are having the same results over the last couple of years. I've worked with hundreds of women with the same 3 basic foundations here. Okay. So the first step is to understand why you're gaining weight. Okay. So the first step is to understand why you're gaining weight here. Okay. We lose up to 10 to 30% of our muscle mass every decade, starting in perimenopause, which is usually the 40s, sometimes late 30s, okay? But guess what this muscle is turning into? It's turning into fat. And as we lose muscle and gain fat, our metabolism is slowing because we're losing all our muscle, okay? Their muscle is burning that fat. So we need to understand that piece, what's going on physiologically and biologically, metabolically in our body, to understand that, okay? So not only are we losing our muscle mass, we're also seeing our hormones shift, okay? Through perimenopause, our hormones are like chaotic. Our progesterone and estrogen are declining, but they're declining at their own pace, right? They're just all over the place. But when they're declining, that is causing our rise in our insulin and our cortisol levels, which then affect our appetite hormones, leptin and ghrelin. So we're hungrier, okay? We have more cravings because of all of these hormonal changes. And when we are gaining this fat, okay, that muscle is turning into fat, what's happening is thankfully, the extra fat, especially around our bellies that we're noticing, thankfully that is not settling on our internal organs yet, okay? But the belly fat and then that extra fat storage around our hips and our butt, all of this is happening because of those hormonal changes. But once we start to notice that shift in our body composition, that is before those internal metabolic changes are happening, where that fat storage that our body is protecting us now by keeping it on the outer part of our body, but eventually it will shift to the internal organs. So that visceral fat is a big sign, a big red flag that your body is metabolically not doing great, okay? It is setting setting us up for a slew of heart disease, cancers, diabetes. And this is why we see those medical problems rise during this phase in life too. If you've noticed your cholesterol starting to get high or your blood pressure starting to rise, it's because of all these hormonal changes that's driving these changes, okay? So it's not your fault. All of this is happening and you're trying, right? Most of the women I talk to are trying to lose the weight. They're just not seeing it, okay? So all of this is happening inside our body and around our body with these hormonal shifts. And have you noticed a lack of energy? Holy cow. I have felt that too. And it's that lack of estrogen that's affecting our energy and brain fog, right? So as our estrogen is declining, it's making us more tired. We have more brain fog. We just don't feel ourselves. And I'm so looking forward to getting an estrogen patch slapped on because I think that's going to help with all of my symptoms. And great for long-term benefits, but that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother video. But all of these hormonal changes are causing us to store weight and making it super hard to lose weight in this phase in life. Second step that I want to walk you through is understanding the common mistakes that I know I've done through my weight loss journey when I couldn't lose weight, and so many mistakes that I see as I'm helping women in their weight loss journey when they start with me, okay? And the women I talk with. So the biggest mistake is exercising more and eating less, okay? This is actually inflaming and stressing our body even more where we can't lose weight, okay? So don't do what I did and train for a half Ironman and in the middle of the hot summer, right? Like that's very inflammatory. Now, if you just enjoy it, it's something you like to do for fun, then go for it. However, it's not the best thing for you to be doing in midlife to lose weight, okay? So that's the first mistake I see is women have been told for years to move more, eat less, okay? That is just simply not true. The second mistake I see women making are simply just not having the correct macro balance in your day, okay? So this is very different than how you ate in your 20s and 30s when you eat healthy then. It has to look different now. And if you're like, what is a macro? What are you talking about? Don't worry, I'm going to walk you through a little bit more here in step 3. But basically, taking the carbs, fats, and proteins and make sure they're all balanced day to day because our nutritional needs are different now in midlife than they were in our 20s and 30s. So that is a huge mistake that I see women commonly making because this information is all new, right? We didn't have this out more than just a few years ago. So this is something new that we've been learning along the way. And the last mistake that I see women making, they're just simply not eating enough, okay? Once we get curious and really start looking at your daily habits around your meals and your foods, a lot of women just aren't eating enough, okay? So I take those mistakes and we really work through all of that to make sure you get everything in line with nutrition, exercise, stress response, sleep, right? All those basic non-sexy things we need to get excited about and work on those. But the last step here, the last basic step that I took that worked for me to lose 25 pounds and that also works for the clients and the women that I work with is, I'm going to walk you through another few more steps here because I'm saving you months and years of your time because I've already done all the research and done it myself, tested it out on women just like you, okay? And I'm taking you through exactly what that is. So I've explored the work of so many great physicians and scientists, including Dr. Mary Claire Haver, Dr. Stacy Sims, and Dr. Mindy Peltz. And I have used their knowledge and I have customized a program that incorporates their core principles, and it takes all of those core principles and individualizes it just for you, women in midlife that are working towards weight loss. So whether you are so confused and just simply don't even know what to eat anymore, or you have a great base and are already eating a whole food, mostly plant-based diet, I meet you where you're at. And I take where you're starting from to help you make the simple tweaks we need to in order to get that weight off and get you down to that goal weight where you want to be. And I have worked with a range of women simply getting started and really not sure even what to eat at all, and just to gently start exercising, to women that have a great solid foundation and are eating super healthy and maybe doing some CrossFit or HIIT workouts and just simply adjusting those macros a bit to then being able to see fat loss and weight loss. Okay, so how do I make this work? First thing is tailored nutrition that supports our hormones rather than fighting against them. Okay, so what does that mean? Macros. Okay, macros are super simple, I promise. I remember when I first heard of a macro 3 or 4 years ago now, that I thought, why would anyone want to count macros? What is a macro? That seems so complicated. Believe me, it's not. It just takes someone showing you how to do it, and it's very simple. So we want to look at those macros, which is the protein, fat, and carbs, and make sure they're adjusted to a certain percentage. And I follow more of like a ketogenic way of eating, which it's not keto, okay? Do not follow keto. Keto is very inflammatory, and that's the last thing you need in this phase in life where our bodies are already stressed and inflamed already because of those hormone shifts. Do not follow keto because that will cause more inflammation. So ketogenic is different because we're eating whole foods, mostly plant-based diet. It's not, believe me, you can still eat meat if you want to, but I definitely encourage bringing more plants and more vegetables in. How can we make that happen? Even if you don't like vegetables, okay? But whole foods basically just means foods in their whole state. Like an apple is an apple, right? I don't want to, applesauce is more processed and broken down, and we're losing a lot of that great nutrition that you get when you eat a whole apple. So just looking at the whole foods and how to incorporate those into our life, okay? Fasting, this is such a great tool, especially for women in perimenopause and menopause, because it helps with that insulin regulation. It helps with gut health. There's so many long-term benefits and longevity benefits from fasting and working with intermittent fasting. But understanding how to use this also while you're trying to work in exercise or maybe change up your exercise routine to lift more weights and work on gaining muscle, we have to be very intentional with the timing of our foods around fasting to still gain the muscle that we're wanting to in our workouts. So I walk you through how to make all that happen and make it all work in your life so you're getting the great benefits of fasting, but also more importantly, getting those great benefits of every ounce of muscle that we can make when we're exercising, okay? Smart movement, okay? So in these steps, what I've done when I was losing weight is, one, I really got intentional with my nutrition. I followed a ketogenic style of eating and counted my macros and used an app called Chronometer to log everything and make sure I was hitting those macros and I was able to lose weight. And that's what I do with my clients now, okay? And I promise it's way simpler than what it sounds, okay? The second thing is smarter movement. What we need to do for exercise in this phase in our life is different than just intense cardio like we did back in the 80s. It is way different, ladies. We need to pick up weights. We need to do body weight exercises. We need to do more movement like that because we don't want to do more cardio. That's too stressful. That's too inflammatory for our body. We want to pick up those weights, and we want to know how to eat prior and after our weight training and our resistance training to actually build the muscle. So I definitely changed up my exercise, started lifting more, and have been really pushing that protein after a good workout and not training fasted. Okay. The last thing I do too is really look at that exercise piece, because that HIIT and sit workouts. So HIIT is high intensity training intervals, and then the sit intervals are sprint intervals. And sprint intervals, you can do them by sprinting and walking, like walking and then running fast and then walking again. Or you can do this on the bike, or you can do this in the pool, right? So whatever exercise you like to do for a little bit of cardio, you want to make sure you're not just doing like a zone 2 workout. Those are nice, those are great for our mind, but you want to do some intensity training in there too, because that also helps with building muscle during this phase in life. So we really get specific. If you want to do long endurance stuff, like one of my clients, like myself, I can definitely help you lose weight through this time. It just looks a little different. And it's not the best for our bodies right now, but if it's something you love to do, then I want to help you do that as well. But looking at exercise, looking at nutrition, and getting very specific and changing that up, okay? And so that's what I got for you. So the 3 basic steps that I've done that I want you to work on is ketogenic way of eating, okay? So that's high fat, low carbs, moderate amount of protein, but looking at those macros by using a food app like Chronometer. Get very intentional there, okay? The second thing is look at your exercise. How can you change things up a little bit in your exercise routine, but also make sure you're eating afterwards to build muscle, okay? And then I'm curious to hear, what's been your biggest frustration so far with your weight loss journey? Drop it in the comments so we can talk about it. Thanks so much for watching. If this video helped you, please hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss next week's tips. And if you want ongoing support, inspiration, and a community of women just like you, come join my Facebook group, Weight Loss for Midlife Women. The link is in the description below. Also, if you're ready to take your weight loss to the next level, comment ready below or schedule a free one-on-one call with me in the show notes. Have a great day, ladies.